Yeah. Fashionably late as ever. Jade Shadow's Constellation is the second part of the Jade Shadows questline. In this video, I'll offer my limited understanding of this unresearched quest and go over if this quest was enjoyable at all. Now, Warframe Eternalism at its finest, it came as no surprise to me that there'd be a set of twin Warframes at some point. I just had not expected it to be the Timestone equivalent of the Children of Jade and the Stalker though. But hey, DE is full of surprises as per usual. Quickly explained, both Sirius and Orion are technically the same being, as long as one recognizes that a being or a person has a soul. Through the void and unlimited possibilities of eternalism, we are faced with two shells who share the same soul. For me, this is the easiest and best way to understand who Sirius and Orion even are, especially after we have made our choice on what to name Jade's child at the end of part 1. So from now on, I'll refer to them as brothers, because it's simply easier. Alright, the quest Jade Shadows Constellations itself is alright, and I'll get to that. It starts off with a pretty epic cinematic, although I had kinda hoped that the actual trailer with the era music, which is currently playing in the background, if I don't forget about it again, would have made it into the actual game because of how absolutely hard it went. The quest starts out with the Stalker dropping in on Sirius and Orion beating the absolute shit out of each other. Having grown up with two older brothers, and I'm sure this rings true for a lot of other men too, this brought back some fond memories. Either way, we drop in as the Stalker, smack our kids around a little bit, and make them stop fighting for a second. When the Stalker calls out for both Sirius and Orion, two fuck-ass proto-frames beam in, one being Ryoku, Ash's proto-frame, and the other, Vina, Garuda's proto-frame. Now here's where you'll have a different cutscene depending on what you decided to call the baby, or rather which brother you chose for. It's worth noting that it doesn't matter if you chose Sirius or Orion, Vina still calls you daddy.
Daddy doesn't recognize you.
So that's a thing for some of you depraved goblins. Ryoku basically tells Sirius that we will find the right path eventually, while Vina invites us over to find them, or tea time. I don't know. Damn it, she called us daddy. What the fuck are we gonna do? Which is basically what Hanao then tells us to do. But first we need to find someone other than the Tenno to help us, which is why we go to the Tenno's Orbiter, who's currently doing whatever the fuck Tennos do. Probably mass genocide or something. And we find Umbra. Of course, Umbra and the Stalker are homies.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
So Umbra agrees to help, playing the cool uncle while Orion absolutely hates Umbra's dope tunes, which is really sad to me as a guitar player because that song is kinda cool. To shorten the next bit a little bit, we basically have to go find Ryoku and Vina, who both want to slap the absolute shit out of us, and yes, I'm ignoring the interception mission, because fuck interception. During the hunt, we see two customized Corpus/Grenier tile sets, which in my opinion offer some welcome change to the usual scenery. Vina is the Kuva Witch, so we have to free terminals from Kuva corruption, while enjoying the sight of blood-stained walls and fountains of Kuva or blood. I guess it's blood. Ryoku has a full-on futuristic cybertech ninja vibe to him, so his ship is full of traps, his shadow clones, and some enemies that can take an absolute beating. His stage scene is an absolute banger though. The fights are kind of unspectacular, as one would expect, I guess. The Warframe abilities are mostly present. I personally enjoy the Ryoku fight a lot more though. Technically speaking, I find it a bit harder than Vina, and you gotta look out for the real Ryoku here and there, which makes it kind of fun to do. We then return to Hanhao after having murdered both, where he tells us the Void is intervening, wow, Dutch accent. The Void is intervening with his plan, and to go check it out. We do find the Void Mockery, which of course to torture the Stalker even more takes on the shape of Jade, but nonetheless we subdue the Mockery and bring back what looks like a sentient core, the Void Spark, which we bring back to Hanhao as we see Umbra the absolute Chad holding off both Sirius and Orion. To end the conflict, the Stalker drops the Void Spark in what looks like a receiving altar for Hanhao, which then allows him to create a branch reality, offer himself to the Void, and create a safe place for the Stalker, Sirius, Orion, and baby Sirius to flourish peacefully. Then we get to make them all dinner and see the eternal conflict between the brothers stopped. Generational trauma healing at its best. All in all, the quest is alright. The fights were enjoyable most of the time. The story picked back up where it left off and featured one of my favorite characters in Warframe's story, Hanhao, as his way more complex self than we initially were told he was, or is. or both. Eternalism. I do think this quest should have been released a lot sooner though. Yes, I totally understand development timelines and I'm sure this was not easy to pull off. When was something Warframe ever easy to pull off, let's be honest? But as far as a quest for a Warframe goes that then builds on top of a quest for another Warframe, I feel this should have been released together. That, however, just follows my personal preference, of course. What I personally do not like is being locked in again. I didn't like it during the new war, I don't like it during any quest, it's annoying. I get it, it's only a 40-minute mission, 30 minutes if you're fast, but I just don't like it. What I really dislike is the failing follow-up after the quest. We are just supposed to realize that there'll be a new relay waiting for us to explore from the questline itself. Or, you know, if you read the patch notes, you probably have known that already. But as of recently, I tried to take these quests in as they are, and the follow-up of what to do, where to get what, has been lacking for a lot of them. I really wish Digital Extremes would quit the hand-holding with bosses and focus a bit more on what they can do to guide the player to the actual farming. I have been told there are a lot of secrets hiding in and around this new relay. There are even rumors of a specific sword having received a Prime version, which I had thought impossible. So this also leaves me with Stalker Prime when? In any case, it's a quest worth playing at least, even when the story is messy. I think newer players will definitely find more enjoyment out of being able to play both parts, one after the other, as opposed to existing players having had to wait for it. Alright, now at this point, I'd like to thank you all for watching. The What Your Warframe Says About You video reached 500,000 views recently. And while I'm very happy with that, of course, it's also very humbling to see that so many people were entertained by it, or at least found it interesting enough to click on it. It has given me the much needed motivation to give this YouTube thing one last try. Now stay safe out there, Tenno. Later.